And welcome to the VSA Capital, VSA Capital, I was trying to repeat myself there, 5-minute morning miner on Tuesday the 13th of September. Sorry, I've got my tongue twisted there, Paul. I do apologise. How are you?
Just got all discombobulated, I guess. Huh? I'm fine, thanks.
It's so exciting. There's so much going on this morning. Well, I'm not sure about exciting. There is quite a lot going on. Also, I'm pleased to say that last night I had a really hard tennis match, semi-final of the men's veterans at my tennis club, which luckily I managed to win 6-4, 6-2. So I'm in the final this weekend. Very exciting.
Hey, way to go. Way to go.
Absolutely the way to go. Now, look, I think we should start this morning with Tungsten West, because they put out an update on what is going on there. We have just released a VSA Morning Miner note on it. I mean, Paul, do you want me to talk through it? Because obviously I'm pretty close. Or do you want to talk through it?
Yeah, you're closer to me than me, so you've got more to add, I think.
There you go. It's not often that I can tell the geologist what's going on, but here we go. Look, I think one of the keys is, one of the nice things about RNSs now is you are allowed to put pictures in RNSs. And if you read the RNS on Tungsten West, you will see there is a picture of Liz Truss just before she was made Prime Minister, actually down on the mine site talking to Mark Thompson. And clearly we're not allowed to divulge what was held in those conversations. But I think it's fair to say that Liz Truss is also a believer in levelling up. The southwest of England needs jobs. So getting this mine back into production will create jobs. And I think it's fair to say that Liz Truss is clearly, the fact that she visited, a fan of Tungsten West. I don't believe she owns any stock. I'll just make that clear. But I think there are all sorts of things that she could do to help get us back in production, such as, for instance, put the rebate back on for red diesel. The good news is that they have now, they are getting on and buying all the equipment. They've basically got an agreed term sheet now for a royalty of $30 million, which means that they will have all the money they need to put this plant back into production. If you want more detail, please do get in contact with myself or Paul or Ollie. Ollie, as I say, just written the note. But it is good news, and the stock has jumped nicely today to 29p. I still think there is plenty further to go, but obviously people want to see more proof of them moving forward. There you go, Paul. I've covered Tungsten West. Why don't you now cover Bushveld, because they had interims today?
Yes, they sure did. Improved set of results there from Bushveld on year-on-year comparables. Revenue up to $76.2 million US. That was up almost 50% or so. So nice recovery there. And the switch over to positive adjusted EBITDA, $15.6 million versus a loss in a year ago period. And it's led by higher vanadium prices and a weaker South African rand versus the US dollar. Operating profit came in at $6 million versus a loss of almost $20 million last year. Cash at 30th of June stood at $7 million, which is down about half from what it was at the end of 2021, but they are in positive cash flow since period end, so that should start building here again in the next set of numbers. And they got the financial close achieved during the half on the Vametco mini grid project, and they've gotten site clearance now underway out there.
Yeah, the only problem, look, is I think they still have borrowings of over $75 million US dollars, which is a very high gearing for an operation like this. And obviously, we follow the vanadium price pretty closely. It is pretty weak, and it's likely to go weaker, really, because steel demand is likely to drop off fairly significantly, both in China and across the world as we enter this rather difficult winter. And the vanadium flow battery industry is not growing fast enough to offset that. Obviously, we're very bullish on it. So I would expect to see the vanadium price go weaker short term. I think it's interesting that Bushveld stock has not changed this morning. Anyway, there you go. Right. Do you want to mention Broad Ahead in the lithium space?
Yeah, Broad Ahead, London quoted explorer for lithium, both clays and pegmatite, and with projects in the USA. They've got the drilling program underway now on the San Domingo pegmatite field in central Arizona. Completed the first hole on what is to be a 30-hole, 7,000-meter diamond core drilling program, and they expect it will be finished sometime in the next quarter on that. They did get a late start, though, from what it was intended, because they did have extreme seasonal rain in that part of Arizona, which has delayed the activities and the moving of the rig around to the site. So, but they expect they'll be able to get the caught up here in coming weeks.
Okay, let's have one more, Paul, because there's quite a lot of news. I know we've got a limited amount of time. But one of our favourites, run by Francis Whedon, is Vulcan Energy, and I think they have announced the start of their on-site construction, haven't they?
Yes, they have. Vulcan Energy. This is the start of the construction on the demonstration plant for absorption in land, and it's being built in Landau, Germany. And that's essentially a scale up of what is operating pilot scale activity at the geothermal field itself. And this is intended to demonstrate commercial quantities of desorption or sorption of the lithium out of resin or to resin to make it a truly zero emissions sort of production scenario. And that plant is due to commission late in 2022 and operations to begin first initial part of 2023.
Very good. And Vulcan are actually up 10% this morning. And in France, if you're listening, we would love to dual list you in London. I think there would be great appetite for it. We can do it in a very cost-effective and easy way of doing it as well. Paul, let's call it a day there, because that's 4 good stories. And we can speak again tomorrow.
Very good. See you then.